morning. It's a great honor to introduce my friend and fellow lawyer at Ogletree, Merl Code. You get you introduce a few people if you've been practicing law 37 years, and Merl is one that's easy to introduce. The problem is limiting your material because he has accomplished more than his lifetime and 10 people do in theirs. And throughout his whole career, he has exhibited leadership. I'll tell you a few facts about Merl. He is from Seneca. He went to North Carolina A&T, Merl, and I believe he majored in mathematics. And I found out this morning when I was looking at his bio, he was a National Merit Scholar, which is pretty rare air at an early age to get that when you're in high school. He then played football in the Canadian Football League. A lot of people know that, 8 years. He went to University of South Carolina law. He's been a lawyer. He's been a judge. He's been a football player. He has been a business owner. He's been a business leader. He's been a great father. He's been a wonderful husband. He has been the biggest cheerleader this community has probably ever had. He's got the biggest smile, the best voice. And quite frankly, I would just like to introduce what I would call the moral compass of green. Merl Code.
Isn't it strange that kings and queens and clowns that caper in sawdust rings, common people like you and me, are builders for eternity. Each is given a bag of tools, a shapeless mass, a book of rules. Each must make your life as shown, a stumbling block or a stepping stone. I am indeed honored to be before you this morning. Do not be alarmed by this big book. As you reach 65, you have to have larger font. There aren't many words on each page, but I got a lot of pages. The elements of a well-received and prepared presentation is have a good beginning, a good ending, and making the two meet as soon as possible. Some of you only know me from emceeing the Chamber of Commerce's banquet. I'll touch that in a minute or two. But my agent is here this morning. I'm not going to ask her to stand, but she is not pleased because I am a professional speaker. Now, those of you who do not understand what a professional speaker is, on Thursday nights in high school, the JV players, they're amateur kids who want to get to go and play in high school and go on to college. On Friday nights, the high school kids play. They're amateurs. They want to go on to college. On Saturday afternoon, the college kids play. They want to go on to be a professional. And on Sunday night and Monday night, the professionals play and they get paid. I am here this morning because the Chamber of Commerce has reduced me to junior varsity status. And my agent has not yet figured how to get a percentage of nothing. Let me tell you a story about Howard before I begin. Howard, as he indicated to you, was previous chair of the Chamber of Commerce. It is an honor, but it is work. They really think they're paying you to come and volunteer your time all day and all weekend. Well, when Howard found out he had been elected chairman, he started to celebrate with his friends. And as most of you know, Howard does not drink much. On this particular evening, he really had a little bit too much libation. But when he got home, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and his wife came while sleeping. But Howard was so excited, he wanted to tell her about what had just happened to him. So he goes into the bedroom, shakes her on the shoulder. Said, "Baby, wake up." She said, "What is it? I got good news." She said, "Can't you tell me in the morning?" He said, "No, I need to tell you tonight. I'm so excited." She said, "How? Can't we talk about this in the morning?" Howard said, "Wake up, baby." So he goes into the bathroom, he goes into the medicine cabinet and gets a bottle of aspirin. Pulls about 4 or 5 of them in his hand and comes back out, and Kay is now sleeping on her back. He reaches down and pinches her nose. When he pinched her nose, her mouth flew open so she could breathe, and he dropped those 5 or 6 aspirins in her mouth. Kay began to gag and sat up straight in the bed and expirated those aspirin. And he said, "What's she doing?" He said, "Take the aspirin, baby." She said, "Take the aspirin." He said, "Yeah, baby, take the aspirin." She said, "Howard, I don't need to take any aspirin. I don't have a headache." He said, "Oh, baby, that's what I wanted to hear." To those of you who do not know, I have health issues. Cancer, survivor. While I was recovering from cancer, I had a heart attack. Had to have 6 bypasses. Died twice on the table, so I'm told. My life story is interesting because I know I got something to do while I'm here because I have been spared to do it. Now, I will tell you this, to those of you who have never died, I did not see a light at the end of the tunnel. I did not hear a harp or violins playing. And my friends told me I was going in another direction. That's what I yelled. But I was spared for a reason. That is why I do what I do. I believe in the goodness of people. And I believe that leadership is that currency that drives business and a community. And I believe that people of goodwill who are unafraid to lead and who are unafraid to take bold stances in life changes the lives of others. South Carolina is too small to be a Republican, too large to be an insane asylum. But I am grateful that I'm here because Greenville is just the right size to be the community of the future. I love this very special place for it gave me the opportunity to be in leadership roles. Those of us who live here are very fortunate to call this extraordinary piece of real estate our home. Now, as I mentioned earlier, most of you really don't know me, only from MC. Please Google me. I like saying that. You will find almost 32 pages. On most of those pages, I take up all of them, and on about half of them, I'm somewhere in there. And my boy is in there. We got the same name. But I want you to understand that I have had an opportunity to serve on multiple boards, local and statewide. Serve on college boards, local and statewide. Serve on bank boards, multiple for-profit and non-profit boards, local and statewide. I have been an entrepreneur. I was a college president for 36 hours. I believe I hold the Guinness World Book of Records as the shortest tenure for a college president non-death related. I am honored that others have seen something in me to allow me to sit at the table and around the table. Background. I have been the captain of every team I've ever played on, with the exception of the professional ranks. I was captain of my baseball team, played shortstop. Captain of my basketball team, played point guard. Captain of my football team, I was a quarterback in high school. I went to college, quarterback, captain of my football team. As a professional, I was not the captain. But what I learned was that I could lead from in the middle of the back. I did not have to be kept to lead. And that taught me how to support those who were serving as the captain. I am honored that my teammates selected me. Leaders are chosen. Leaders should inspire others. There's something about you that is uplifting to others. Your brain power, your compassion, your work ethic, your courage, your fairness, your motivating words, they set the example for others that observe who and what you do and who and what you are. Quoting from the first chapter, the 3rd verse of Al Code Senior, my dad. He told me early on in my life, Merl, when in a meeting setting, observe the smartest person or the wealthiest person in the room and see how they conduct themselves. Then he also said the wealthiest person and the smartest person are not necessarily the same person in the room. They don't try to dominate the discussion, they listen. They will speak when they have something to say. All of us have been in rooms where we're sitting around the table and there's one young lady or one young man that just won't shut up. They have to give you a comment on everything on the agenda. What they don't realize is that does not engender respect for them. It makes other folks turn them off. Keep your mouth shut. You think you're a fool. Open your mouth. You know you're a fool. Leadership manifests itself in inner strength, passion, defined by me as focused emotions, vision, value system, integrity, honesty, principled decision making, a moral compass, if you will. Leadership in business and the community should be committed to creating a climate of fairness, trust, respect, and opportunity. When leadership has created an environment that employees and the community considers fair and have demonstrated you value and respect each other, you trust each other, and outreaches for opportunity for inclusive growth, your workforce and your community are now engaged. They feel a responsibility for the success of the vision. It is not how much money you pay somebody. It is not the title that you give them. They want to respect you for who you are and what you do, and most of all, how you treat them and how you treat others. Don't place everything on trinkets and money as being valuable to the people around you. There's certain other things that are important. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man who was involved in a very terrible car accident. He was burned on his face. He needed to have a skin graft. They couldn't find anyone who was compatible. They basically tested his wife and found that the skin on her buttocks could be grafted and placed on his face, and it would take. So they didn't tell anybody. They just underwent the skin graft, took it off of her buttocks, and placed it on his face. After months of healing, his face was baby butt smooth. He was more handsome than ever. They had gone to a gathering with family and friends, and people were just gushing all over him how well he looked. So when he got home that night, he was just overwhelmed. And he said, "Baby, thank you for your sacrifice." She said, "No problem." He said, "Now, I need to do something for you." She said, "I don't need you to do anything." He said, "No, let me buy you some jewelry." She said, "No." He said, let me get you a fur." "No." "Let me get you a car or something." She said, "No." "Let me send you on a trip somewhere." She said, "No." He said, "I need to do something." And his wife looked at him with adoring eyes and said, "Honey, every time I see your mother kiss you on your cheek, I get all the satisfaction I need." small stuff matters. Leadership should engage in decisions and activities that make those you lead proud to be associated with you. They want their neighbors, their family, and their friends to be able to validate that their company or organization cares about others. United Way, food banks, child care services, nonprofits that assist others. If you have noticed, in this community, leadership of the Chamber has also been leadership of the United Way. There's a symbiotic relationship that exists between the Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business, and United Way, which is supposed to be the umbrella and the carrying entity for those who need our help. A strong community supports business, and a strong business community supports the community. That's where you can lead. You don't have to sit at the head of the table or be an officer in the company to lead. You can lead from wherever you are. You can be the kind of person that others look up to you. You can be the kind of person that stops harassment. You can be the kind of person who makes sure that people get a chance to grow. You make sure that others don't take advantage of others. You can make sure wherever you are that you conduct yourself in a manner that others admire your integrity, your honesty, your values, your leadership. I heard a young gentleman speak the other day at the Urban League banquet. And he asked the question at the beginning of his speech. I believe his name was Dr. Randall Pink. He was sharp and he was good. But he posed this to the question, to the audience. Follow. Is making money the standard in the measure of success? Or is having impact on your community the measure of success? Making money is for yourself. Having impact on your community is for others. They are not mutually exclusive. You can do both if you have the wherewithal to understand that success can be defined as the ever-increasing opportunity to do good for other people. Ideally, when you're making that money, you can have greater access and greater impact on your community. They are not mutually exclusive. It only how you spend your money and what you believe about the place you have chosen to be your home. You can't live here and not want to change it. When you go home, you want to clean out your closets, sweep off your entrance. You make sure your house is tidy for others to visit, but you don't want to live in mess either in your home. This is your community. Leadership by you says, let's clean it up. Let's do what we need to do to make our community our home and treat it as such. We don't treat our family bad in our home. So we are all family Greenvillians. We don't treat each other bad in our home. There are different types of leadership, and I'm going to hit them very briefly. I'm going to be a good steward of your time. Those of you who really want to go back to work. There's inspirational leadership. There's bold leadership. There's humble leadership. And let me talk about inspirational leadership first. Inspirational leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. In 1987, there was a visioning process headed by Max Heller. We met every Wednesday for almost 2 months down at the Ramada Inn on Church Street. We had flip charts all around the room. People were writing on those flip charts and sitting them up all around the room. There was about 100, 150 of us in that room. Here were the rules. Think bold, think creative, see beyond your eyesight, money not being the problem. What is it that you'd like to see? This is 1987. Prior to 1987, hear me well, there was no Peace Center, there was no downtown ballpark, there was no Children's Museum, there was no Falls Park, there was no Liberty Bridge, there was no 6-lane 385 coming into town, there was no renovated Western Poinsett, there was no multifamily residences downtown, no downtown revitalization, no regional alliances, no ICAR, no Diversity Leadership Institute, no Liberty Fellows, no Bond Secures Arena, no BMW, no History Museum, and I can go on. But what I can tell you, all of that was around that wall in 1987. Max Heller and his leadership changed vision into reality. We had another vision session in the early 2000s, headed by Mona Shaw and Dr. David Schott. It was called Vision 2025. Only this time there were 500 or more people involved in trying to set a vision for where we go, building on the 1987 vision. Let me share with you what the goals of 2025 were. By 2025, we dreamed that Greenville, South Carolina is the most livable place in the country. And there are magazines who say we're on our way. That Greenville is a highly recognized center for the arts and cultural activities. We have multiple art festivals, the West End Arts District, the Peace Center, and others. That Greenville is healthy, supported by programs for community health, care for the medically underserved, bikeway and walkway networks, and a collaborative health care system. We got the Swamp Rabbit Trail. We got the medical school. We got collaboration between Clemson University, St. Francis, Greenville Health System, Medical University of South Carolina. Wow. We dreamed that Greenville is a national leader in environmental stewardship and keeps the green in Greenville. Brad White and his organization Upstate Forever has taken charge of making sure we do that. It values authentic mixed-use neighborhoods and town centers which keep the village in Greenville. We've got Hollingsworth Park. We've got downtown Greenville. We dream that values learning. Everyone is educated to their potential, and every child in its first grade ready to succeed. We have United Way initiatives who've invested an awful lot of money in making sure that happens here. We have the Institute for Child Success, born and raised in Greenville, South Carolina. If you're not supporting it, you should. If we change the lives of children, we change the future of this community. The Institute for Child Success. If you're not helping these folks, headed by Dr. Schott, Susan Schott, if you're not supporting y'all, it takes care of those in need, and everyone has a home. Another initiative of our United Way and Community Works is accepting. We dream that Greenville is accepting, inclusive, and diverse to all people regardless of where they live, how much they make, where they worship, who they vote for, or who they love. We have the Diversity Leadership Initiative at the Riley Institute. We dream that Greenville cultivates and inspires creativity and retains and attracts young, talented people and their families to Greenville. We've got the West End. We've got West Greenville developing in that type of part of our community. We dream that we can support industry clusters through academic centers for excellence. We have ICAR now. We believe that we can continue to be an international center for trade and investment. BMW, Michelin, and others. Now the Inland Port, moving toward realization of the dreams of this community. We dream that we can plan as a region, and the vision extends through the Carolina upcountry. We have Upstate Alliance and 10 at the top. Planning and vision changes a community. leadership, being involved, having your voice be heard. A friend of mine once told me this, having your voice be heard. A friend of mine told me, Merl, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. You need to be around the table, raising your voice, giving your opinion, getting involved in communities and committees so that your voice can be heard, your vision realized, so people understand what you think and why you think it. My daddy once told me, my dad, I'm a product of a mixed marriage. Y'all can't look at me and tell. But I am the product of a mixed marriage. My mama was Democrat, my daddy was Republican. That's true story. So I asked my daddy, Daddy, how you join the Republican Party? They fight the Civil Rights Act. And my daddy said to me, he said, son, somebody need to be in the room. Huh? He said, sometimes decisions are made that affect you in a negative way. Not because anybody was trying to hurt you. You weren't being discussed. You didn't come up in the discussion. Therefore, when the decisions were made, your interests were not involved. My daddy said, I'm going to be in the room. Whoa. See, I'm not saying they're going to do what I say, but they're at least going to hear what I think. My daddy was wise, to be honest. That's the second chapter and third verse of my daddy. But I'm a blessed man. I grew up in a household where my daddy was level-headed and a strong man, and my mama was stronger than my daddy, but she didn't let him know. Bold leadership. A man who wants to lead the orchestra got to turn his back on the crowd. A man who wants to lead the orchestra got to turn his back on the crowd. You got to make decisions that you believe are the right ones for the right reasons. That Camperdown Bridge that some of you remember blocked the waterfall. It was nothing more than an automobile transport system. But we needed to take it down to open up Falls Park, to open up that grand waterfall that is a jewel for this community. But there were people who were clamoring to leave the bridge alone. If leadership had listened to the clamor of the masses, our downtown would be different. If you want to lead the orchestra, you got to turn your back sometimes. I'm correct. Humble leadership. Outstanding leaders go out of the way to boost self-esteem of others, yet people believe in themselves. It's amazing what they can accomplish. Uplift other folk. Give them a chance to have their voices heard. Open up some doors so that people can be a part of this grand community in which we live. The challenge of leadership is to be strong, but not rude. To be kind, but not weak. To be bold, but not bully. To be humble, but not timid. To be proud, but not arrogant. To have humor without folly. Leadership requires being a champion for someone or for something. In 1963, there were those who said I could play some baseball. I was shortstop. But in 1963, there was segregation. I'm shortstop in the black community, known upper statewide. 3 white guys come to my house, knock on my door. I'm in my bedroom. My daddy answers the door. They say, is Merl home? I thought my daddy was going to protect me. He said, yeah. I said, oh, Lord. This is 1963, y'all. Some of y'all might understand, old enough to understand 1963, but I know some other folks who do. 3 white guys come to my house that I did not know. So daddy said, Merl, somebody here to see. I walk out. These white guys say, hey man, listen, we got a baseball tournament to play down in Ivy, South Carolina. We want you to play shortstop for us. I said, y'all ain't never seen me play. I've never seen y'all play. They said, we know you can. We want you to come play with us down in Iowa, South Carolina this tournament. And I thought it was an honor, and I said yes. When the tournament time came, we drove to Iowa, South Carolina, out in the middle of nowhere in Anderson County. All y'all know where Iowa is. We pull up to this outdoor field, and it's just a pasture that's made out of baseball field. I look around, there's 3,000 to 5,000 people there. Nobody looked like me except me. Oh, Lord. We go out to warm up. I'm a shortstop. I'm catching most of that stuff, and I happen to make an error in warm up. Oh, my goodness. They said stuff to me. I'm keeping my cool. We go having batting practice before the game. I'm hitting it pretty good, but I ain't hitting it like I can, and I missed one. Oh, they were not even about 30 feet from me. They were talking about me, my heritage, my mama, and they didn't know my mama. They were saying things to me, some of that stuff was funny, but I couldn't laugh, but they were talking about my heritage. Two of my teammates, Leland Hughes, 6'5", 285 defensive tackle at Delta State, came and stood on one side of me. Dennis Hughes, tight end of the University of Georgia, 6'3", 240 pounds. His baby brother came and stood on the other side of me and said, Merl, relax. All they doing is running off their mouth. Not one of them gonna come out to the stands and message you. And if they do, there won't be enough of them left between me and baby brother to beware. A calm came over me. My first time at bat, I smacked that thing. Take it to the wall. I had a triple. Now, I heard the fans go, ooh, as I was running around them bases to get, now I was probably very scared, but I was running real fast. From home plate to third base. I could hear him go, ooh. I needed heroes on that day. Leland Hughes and Dennis Hughes stood by me to be my heroes and my champions on that day. Be somebody's hero. Shall we build a bridge of promise? Tear down walls that split and divide. Shall we find pathways to inclusion and let the spirit of opportunity inside? Shall we build a bridge of promise? Knock down barriers that push aside. Shall we fling doorways wide open so that self-sufficiency has a place to reside? I am honored to talk about leadership to you. For some reason, others have thought enough of me to give me a position at the table. And others have decided we will follow you. I will tell you this story that you probably don't know. I was president of the University of South Carolina Law School. First person looked like me to be something. You know how I did that? I was just having fun. I'm sitting outside the law school one day, and down the street came 4 or 5 folks I knew. We were buddies. I'm a junior in law school. And I just decided to do something real crazy. I said, hey guys, what? I want to be president. It's okay. I need a cabinet. We'll be it. Y'all can make me president. We'll get you all the constituencies that you need. They went to work for me. I won that election. Why did I tell you that? They didn't know my platform. I ain't have a platform. They knew me. And they knew I had the courage to deal with the faculty. I had the courage to deal with the issues of the law school, and something about me, I hope they respected enough to say, we'll help you be what you say you want to be. Help somebody else. Let somebody else's dream come true because you were willing to do that. Now, to you young members of this audience, you are potential leaders if you're not leaders now. You have heard the old adage, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Now that's partially true. You need to know as much as you can. And you need to know as many people as you can. But that ain't enough. You know why? I know Tiger Woods. I know Beyonce. I know Bill Gates. I know Michael Jordan. The problem is they don't know me. You young folks need to understand what I'm saying to you. It's not enough to know who your boss is. It's not enough to know who is the senator. It's not enough to know who's the governor. It's not enough to know who the mayor. You can know them all day long, it doesn't change your life. They need to know you. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. You need to be conducting yourself in such a way that you are outstanding about something. Something about you makes them memorable to them. The conversation they had. Something about you says, I'm worthy of being a part of anything that's built. Get to know people. You get to know people. Max Teller, Buck Mickle, Charlie Daniels, Bill Orders, and others were going along the highway. Came at the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing a southern tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. That southern stream had no fears for them. But they turned when they reached the other side and built a bridge to stand the tide. The old man said, a fellow pilgrim near, you're wasting strength in building here. Your journey will end with the ending day. You never again must pass this way. You have crossed the chasm, deep and wide. Why build you the bridge at evening time? The men lifted their old gray heads and said, good friend, in the path I have come today, there followeth after me green billions whose feet must pass this way. This chasm that has been knocked to me, to those green billions, a pitfall. They too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I am building a bridge for them. Leadership builds bridges for today and tomorrow. Leadership builds bridges for those you know and you do not know. Your grandchildren's children, your friends' children, you're building bridges for others to follow you in a community that's giving you the opportunity to cross over that bridge because somebody built a bridge for you. Isn't it strange that kings and queens and clowns that caper and solid friends, common people like you and me, are builders for eternity. Each is given a bag of tools or shapeless mountains. Each must make their life as shown, a stumbling block or a stepping stone. Leadership as a stumbling block or leadership as a stepping stone. Will you lead? Will you build bridges for others? Will you be a stepping stone for others? Will you have impact on our community? Leadership is that currency that drives business and community. God bless.
Probably the best word to describe that is powerful. This is a rare occasion when we get to not just have a monologue, have Judge Code speak to us. We have a chance to ask him some questions. So I'm going to open the floor for the next 10 minutes or so. Anything that you'd like to ask Judge Code about his vision, the green vision that he's seen accomplished since he's been in Greenland, his role in that, or his thoughts about leadership. The floor is now open for questions. Anybody? Merl.
Merl. You played football in Canadian football league. You said that was where you came middle of the pack instead of the captain of the team. tell us how that experience, living up there for the time you lived and what it meant and how that affected your life.
My home was Seneca, South Carolina, in the middle of segregated South. I went to Montreal, Canada in 1970, and for the first time in my life, I was treated as a human being. Folks either liked me or disliked me for who I was, not what I was. Doors open, people treated me fairly. I enjoyed that experience. What it also gave me a chance to do was understand the diversity of this world. I had never seen people like me speak French. First time it kind of shocked me. But I also saw discrimination in Canada. You know what that discrimination was? It was English-speaking Canadians versus French-speaking Canadians. They hated each other. I was the black guy. I'm in the middle. They loved me. For the first time in my life, I was getting love. Extraordinary. I go downtown to shop, and I'm doing it in English, and the cashier or assistant, sales clerk would just ignore me or speak French, and I'm going, I'm an American. So, okay, I'll talk to you. They were blowing each other up. They had to have martial law with tanks and guns and machine guns downtown because they were going to each other's nightclubs and sticking bars in the door and setting them on fire. People were dying all over the place over French-speaking Canadians and English-speaking Canadians. Discrimination. First time I ever played on a football team or on any team with a homosexual. Name was Rudy Stevens. Called himself Mother Saint. Now y'all laugh, but that wasn't black. And any of you who ever played football, all you care about is play. We could care less who you love and who you kiss at night. It ain't me. Big Rudy could play. He was cut by the Green Bay Packers, not because he couldn't play, because he had homosexual tendencies. I was told by everybody I met who had seen Rudy in training camp, said, Merl, they couldn't block him. So I can see one. Strong, quick. I said, well, why did they cut him? I said, you know why they cut him. He took us to 2 championships. So when you're talking about diversity, when you're talking about putting people in a position to do what they do, to perform, nothing about anything else of, can you do the job we asked you to do? That Canadian experience is extraordinary for me. Changed my life. Next question.
With all that said, do you know me?
You know your face?
That's a start. What would be, as a young man, you know, for me coming up in my generation with all, you know, the things we have at our disposal that you did not have, I look at you and I'm like, wow, he's a very successful man and he's accomplished a lot. What would you say would be the #1 driving force behind all of those accomplishments?
For me, it was building relationships. For me, I didn't seek out. And if you saw it, it didn't bother me. I know what I look like. But I also know most human beings judge you based upon your character. Whether they enjoy. Do you know that I have sat in meetings in my lifetime for 2 to 3 years and the person next to me did not even speak to me? But I sat in my seat at every meeting. They didn't want to talk to me, I didn't want to talk to them. I'm very comfortable in who I am. But let me tell you what happened. I'm talking about 90% of the rest of the room. And we laughing because my mind works in a funny, my mind is strange. I think of stuff sometimes that makes other folk laugh. So when they began to watch how much fun some of these wealthy people, some of these very smart people, some of these connected people, say, Merl, let's go to lunch. Hey, Merl, what you gonna do when we, Merl, and we having fun together. Eventually, after 2-3 years, my next door seatmate began to talk to me. but I built relationships. Let no one stop you from your dream. Let no one stop you from your goal. Know who you are. Treat people with respect. Treat people as human beings. When you do that, people are watching how you handle that. No, I ain't gonna tell you that stuff. But there are all types of instances where you can get bitter, where you can get angry, but it is self-defeating. You don't grow from that. You don't expand your horizons from that. That was the beauty of the nonviolent movement. If black folks had fought back, they would not have been able to gather the support of real good people who said this is wrong. Sometimes you take the lick to send a larger message.
Right over here.
Right.
Merl, I know you're proud of you. Would you mind sharing with this group your family?
Appreciate you saying that.
Absolutely.
I come from a family of educators. 4 uncles and aunts are teachers. My dad was the principal of the high school that I graduated from and superintendent of all black schools, so there was a segregated educational system when I grew up. My mom was a home economics instructor, and I was around books and reading, and my dad was born before his time. I will tell you this because I'm kind of proud. If I sound braggadocious, I don't mean to. Truth is true. My dad and I may be the only two only father and son team included in the Bell South African American History Gallery. It's Hall of Fame. My dad and me. He was born in 1911. This guy was something special. Well, big as a dick. My dad is 5'5". Oh my Lord, but his stature was 6'9". This is a special guy. And I got to watch him work. I got to listen to him talk. I got to listen to him interact with people. Real wealthy Caucasians, real smart Caucasians will come by my house to talk to my dad. Wow. Now we couldn't go downtown and eat together. We couldn't go to the movie theater together. And Lake had to sit up on the bank at Clemson University. In the snow, in the rain, because we couldn't take a seat. All the stories I could tell you. But that was the tenor of the time. My daddy was never put back from that, and he didn't allow us to go over with me. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. When you get a chance to compete, compete. Know who you are. I happen to be blessed to have that family structure that allowed me to grow on the shoulders of my mom and dad. Thank you for that.
We have time for one more question. Judy.
Well, as you look to the future, and you are a visionary, what one thing do you see Greenville needs to be working on? Is there some area that you think Greenville needs to be focused on as we move into the next decade?
In my view, let me say this to you, and I hope you'll understand. At one time, I was on 23 boards at the same time. 23. Some of them was paying me, and some of those were props. But I'm on 23 boards. You know why? Because I was about all they knew. There was no outreach. There was no opening doors. There was not giving other folks the opportunity. See, I live in that community, and I know there's a whole bunch of folks who look like me that's sharper than me, but they haven't had a chance to be a part. What I see for Greenville to continue to grow and be that city of the future, that shining star on the hill, the crown jewel of the Piedmont in the southeastern region, we need to be inclusive. We cannot leave talent behind. We got to make sure that we use all of the talented people who live in this region, and there are thousands of them. The problem is we haven't built a trust with each other. Black folk don't necessarily trust some of you white folk. And some of you white folk don't trust black folk. You do it right. We have to get by some of those stereotypes and open doors and extend the hand so that we can be inclusive. You cannot grow if you leave your talent on the sideline. We must find ways. Let me share something that is my pet peeve. Hear me clearly. Joey knows, I've said it 1,000 times in meetings. When we talked about the next program and other stuff, and I said, I'm happy for it. I want you to see the next. These high-tech guys doing all this stuff. I said, but if the goal is raising per capita average to the nation, you cannot do it mathematically by only raising the top. Those of you who understand mathematics know what I'm saying. If you got a mass of numbers, and you try to change the average only by raising the top, never happen. You got to raise the bottom, and you got to raise the middle. And that is something Tobin knows. Heard me say. We got to make sure there are programs in place that we have a viable minority business community in Greenville, South Carolina. That's Nika's job. That's why she's doing it. I started that program, a lady named Yvonne Simpson and me, back in the 80s, called Program for Prosperity. We failed miserably. We could not get it done. Nika has put structure to this thing. It is moving in the right direction, but she needs your help. Open some doors. Do some business. Make sure people have a chance to grow. You need a strong minority community. You know why? Strong minority community, business community, have strong families. Strong families have strong children. Strong children make your neighborhood safe and everything grows up around it. It's an effect that it changes the whole dynamics of your community when you include folks in the great success of this community. Open some doors. Do some business. You don't have to change your standards. You don't have to lower your standards. But open the door. Give people a chance to participate in this wonderful place that we call home. I hope that's your question.
Thank you. We don't have time for any more questions, but I'm going to drop the Judge Code moniker for a minute. Merl and I know each other. I consider us friends. I still remember the first time Merl and I met at the Poinsett Club. I gave the speech that day, you were there. He and I worked on personal and business challenges together. Some we've been successful at, some we haven't. He called by name some of the visionaries of Greenville. Some of his soliloquies this morning. Max Allen, Buck Nickel, Charlie Daniel. Merl is being modest because his name stands alongside the I want to present Merl today a book co-authored by Mayor Knox White and John Williamowski, Reimagining Greenville. You know, for years I was in the clothing business, the fashion industry, and I learned there's a real difference between being able to recognize good style. You have people that know how to dress, but there's a big difference in being able to project style. That's what fashion designers do. What are people going to be 9.5, 3 years from now? Being a visionary means you can project what you want our community and our culture to be like, not just over the next 3 years, but over the next 30 years. Merl's done that for us. I'm grateful for his friendship. I'm grateful for his vision. I'm grateful for his participation. And most of all, I'm grateful for his leadership. And Merl, this is for you.
Before I leave, let me share with you one last point I want you to know. my health is not good. As you can tell, I have to sit down and stuff. So I don't know how long I'm going to be able to continue doing what I do. I've often asked myself how I wish to be remembered in this community. Some of you have heard me say that I would like to be a pigeon digestive waste depository. Pigeon digestive waste depository. Please put me downtown as a statue. After I die, no wait, that's good before I die. Yeah, I'll raise the money, give me a statue. We'll bring it downtown. There we go.
Anyway, I want to thank everybody for their attendance today. I want to give you a little heads up as to what the next two Friday forums look like. On May 30th, Dick Wilkerson, the former CEO of Michelin, will be the presiding speaker. And then on June 27th, David Wilkins, you never heard David, he's got a wealth of experience. Obviously, I'm ambassador to Canada for a number of years, so I encourage you to be at both of those. Thank you very much for being here. Enjoy the balance of your day.